Hi everybody, I'm Bill Murray. Coming up at 5, the impact pets have on your homeowner's insurance and why thousands of people are being denied coverage. In schools this time of year, many students battle lice. It's a bug and a stigma. We'll look at new products to help people out. And get ready for some cooler temperatures. Tony's updated forecast for you coming up at 5. Hope to see you in a couple of hours.
Thousands of Marshall University students and alumni know the face of John Marshall. See the Chief Justice from a different perspective during The Face of Justice, Portraits of John Marshall, running February 4th through April 15th at the Huntington Museum of Art. Marshall University and the Huntington Museum of Art are celebrating the 200th anniversary of the appointment of John Marshall as Chief Justice. Attend the public opening at 2 p.m. on February 4th.
Rob Johnson and Melanie Schaefer, weekday mornings on WSAZ.
Today on Montel.
3 incredible stories that will keep you guessing till the end. Her new boyfriend was murdered by her ex. Which man is the father of her baby? Doctors told Helen her child's birth defects can only mean one thing.
You and your husband, 90% sure, are brother and sister.
Plus,
this is the first time we've seen each other.
Melanie dreamed of a reunion with her biological mother. But wait, is this really her? Don't turn away till you see the dramatic endings. The truth will change their lives forever.
Don't go away. That's coming up right now on Montel.
Welcome, and thank you so much for joining us today. You know, today you're going to hear 3 dramatically different stories with one common thread. All of our guests have been through a traumatic ordeal which has left them with some unanswered questions, and today they came here to see if they can find out the truth. Now, our first guest was just 19 years old when she became involved in a dangerous love triangle. I want you to take a look at this.
I met Chris when I was 16, 17 years old. It was like a fairy tale, you know. I instantly fell in love. Things changed probably about 1.5 years into the relationship. When he drank, he was very violent. So yeah, I was afraid. I was afraid of him. And I kept trying to break up with him, but it wasn't working. And so I just started seeing other people, and I had known Kenny for quite a while, a couple of years or so, before I started dating him. He was just really nice. He wasn't the argumentative type. He wasn't the jealous type. He was just a really great guy, you know. Chris showed up at Kenny's trailer at probably 2:30 in the morning. All of a sudden, I just heard beating on the side of the trailer and someone was screaming my name. He came in a rage. He just asked if we had been seeing each other, and Kenny told him yes. And he asked for how long, and Kenny told him a couple months, and that's when he flipped the light on. And I seen him and the sword, and he was just swinging the sword just like a baseball bat, cutting and stabbing. And I don't know exactly when, but I had been cut in the head with that sword. I thought he was going to kill me. There was no stopping him. He stabbed him, and he was just slashing at him. I just ran away from him, and he came after me, and he grabbed me, and he brought me back in there, and he said, "You're going to see what I'm going to do." And he said that he was going to go to prison for the rest of his life, and that I was going to have to watch him. Then when he brought me back in there, that's when he grabbed the gun, and he shot him 4 times in his head. I knew that he was going to die.
It was at this home in Hastings early this morning that police and rural Metro arrived to find a bloody scene.
The 48-year-old male was found lying supine on the floor.
The man, Kenneth Skidmore, was pronounced dead on the scene with multiple stab and gunshot wounds.
I found out that I was pregnant, and that was really hard for me. My daughter's not going to have a father either way. I'm scared that if she's Chris's that she'll have violent tendencies, or if she's Kenny's, then it would be different. It would be easier to tell her that her dad is dead than her dad's in prison. I just want to know so that when she asks me who her father is, I can be telling her the truth. I just think she needs to know.
Please welcome Sonia to the show. You got to back up a little bit for me and tell me about this. Now, you were dating Chris for how long?
For well, we dated for 2.5, 3 years.
3 years. He was your fiance. Were you technically engaged?
No.
Or you weren't. Okay, you called each other fiancés.
No, I didn't.
Okay, he did. He thought that way.
Yes, he wanted to get married.
You found out in the course of the relationship that he had been cheating on you for a long time.
Yes.
And so, as far as you're concerned, the relationship was kind of on the way out.
Yes, it was.
All right, so where and when did you meet Kenny?
I met him a couple years ago, and he was a really nice guy. And
just gotten divorced. Single, nice guy.
Yes.
So, did you tell Chris, you know what, I think this is over, we need to stop seeing each other, I'm gonna see somebody else, or did you just start seeing Kenny?
No, I just started seeing him.
Seeing Kenny. Chris asked you about that multiple times.
No.
No.
No, he didn't.
When was the first time he asked you about Kenny? The night of the incident?
Yes.
Okay. So, the night that this happened, you were spending some time over at Kenny's house.
Yes.
You had told Chris that, you know, you're not seeing anybody, but you were. And what brought Chris to Kenny's house?
Well, he's seen my car out there. He was looking for me.
He looked in the car and you had been away on a little vacation with Kenny.
Yes.
Took a whole bunch of pictures together. Those pictures were in the car.
Yes.
So Chris saw those.
Yes.
And this Chris, we should explain this. Chris was what, 6'10", 300 and how many pounds?
15.
315 pounds. And from that picture, that means that, you know, he's a pretty trim-looking guy, so he was a big dude.
Yes.
Started pounding on the outside of the trailer. Started pounding on the outside of the trailer when he found out he thought you were in there.
Yes. Screaming my name.
Screaming your name. You were laying in bed with Kenny at the time?
Yes.
He sees the two of you together. Kenny jumps up and says, yo, whoa, what's going on? Kind of a thing? Or what happened right then? Take us to that moment. What was going on?
Right then, he asked him how long we had been seeing each other. And Kenny told him a couple months. And at that point, Chris was so upset that he flipped on the light and he started swinging his sword.
And we should talk about this. Chris brought with him to this trailer a sword that he had purchased at like a flea market?
Yes.
Something that would be normally like hanging
like
on
a
the wall.
decoration.
A decoration.
Yes.
And in hindsight, you were able to look back and remember that you saw a whole bunch of sharpening stones in and around your property.
Yes, when I got out of the hospital.
You got out of the hospital?
Yes.
So he had been planning this for a while. He bought that sword, started sharpening that sword. You know, one of those decorative things that are on the wall that couldn't cut its way through a paper bag? He honed that thing into a nice sharp edge. When he flipped that light on, he took that sword and went after Kenny.
Yes. Well, I don't remember the exact moment that I got cut, but I was the first one.
He cut you first?
Yes.
And he cut you over the head? How many stitches did it take to close your head?
125.
125. Then he proceeded to hack Kenny.
He stabbed him.
Stabbed him?
With the sword.
All the way through him?
Yes, all the way through him.
Cut him so hard in the arm that it almost chopped his arm off?
Yes.
Slashed him across his chest, his body?
Yes.
Kenny was laying there in that bed. You tried to run. He grabbed you.
He was laying on the floor.
On the floor?
Yes.
You tried to run. He grabbed you by the back of the head?
No, I got to the other side of the trailer, and then he grabbed me. And he told me that I was going to see what he was going to do, and that he was going to go to prison for the rest of his life, and I was going to have to see what he was going to do.
It was all your fault?
Yes.
So seeing what he was going to do, he dragged you, pulled you back over by the bed,
Yes.
and then what did he proceed to do?
He grabbed a gun and he shot him 4 times in his head.
And he's already laying there pretty much close to death.
Yes.
Shot him anyway. You then got up and ran out again.
Yes.
Took off running, got next door.
I got a couple trailers down, and it was probably 3 o'clock in the morning, and I just started beating on these people's door. And they came to the door, and they called the police for me and everything.
While you were down there, Chris took himself to the police and turned himself in?
To the police station, yes.
Turned himself in, said what he did?
Yep.
No question?
Yeah.
He's already been to trial?
Yes, he has.
How much time did they give him for this?
He was sentenced life in prison without possibility of parole, and then 58 to 71 years on top of that for what he did to me.
Okay. Yeah. But that's not part of the problem today, is it? Because that's
No.
no. The problem is you were seeing Chris and you were seeing Kenny. There was a period of time when this relationship overlapped, did it not?
Yes.
So you were intimate with both people at the same time?
Yes.
When did you find out you were pregnant?
After I moved away from there.
When you moved away, you realized you were pregnant? And then you could be pregnant by either Kenny,
Yes.
your boyfriend, or Chris, the murderer.
Yes.
And that's why you're here today. It's an identity issue because you have a child. How old is your baby now?
8 months.
8 months old. And whose baby do you think this baby is? Who's the father of this child? Do you think?
I think that Chris is, but I'm not sure.
You think it
But
also could be Kenny?
It could possibly.
And if it is Kenny, what would you then do if it's Kenny? Because if her father's dead, how would you be able to tell your child 7, 8 years from now when she asks, where's my daddy?
That's my main concern.
But what if the father of this child is Chris? Where's my daddy?
I don't want to lie to her.
But if the father of this child is Chris, I'm not sure about your state, but we'll check this out right now. Maybe we're going to have our attorney look into this. But technically, Chris could demand that you bring his child in for visitation. You know that, right?
Yes.
All right, I'm going to take a little break. That's what we're talking about today. We're going to answer some questions like this for several of our guests. Not necessarily the exact same question, but it's about who am I? What's going on? There's some unanswered questions in some lives that we want to see if today maybe a paternity test or a maternity test can answer. We'll take a break. We'll be back right after this.
I hated her. If I could have got to her, she would have been laying with him.
We went to a genetic counselor, and because of Michael and Joshua's medical things, they felt that there was a 90% chance that my husband could be my brother. I was losing it. I mean, there was nights I was making love to my brother, there was nights I was making love to my husband.
Heartburn, Harry. Guess it's time to break out the Tums.
I thought I'd try this new stuff, Pepsid Complete.
Well, what was it before? Incomplete?
Who knows? But they added an antacid, so they call it Complete.
Well, if you need an antacid, Harry, you want the Tums.
That's because dose for dose, Tums Ultra neutralizes twice as much acid as Pepsid Complete's in acid. Yet the Pepsid costs almost 4 times as much as the Tums.
So, Harry, did the Tums do it?
Completely.
Tums.
They say the way to a man's heart is through his stomach. Thanks to rich and creamy Jell-O instant pudding, you can get to it in just 5 minutes. Of course, it's a rather well-known saying.
Hi. Hi.
You want a homemade snack in 5 minutes? I can go for something Jell-O.
Thousands of drivers are saving money by switching to Geico Auto Insurance. I'm here with one of them.
Hello.
You don't want your identity revealed. Why?
If word got out I saved so much, people would be hitting me up for money all the time.
Ah.
You through with the milk?
Sure, of course.
I have to be careful.
Geico Direct. A 15-minute call could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
For over 100 years, Hunt's has been sealing in the freshest, juiciest tomatoes, so you can make every meal kissed with flavor. Hunt's, sealed with a kiss.
Is it impossible for you to believe that anybody could love you?
Is she lovable?
Yes, she is.
Do you believe that?
No. Fine. Do you worry all the time?
Bad things happen every day, so why wouldn't it happen to me?
Okay, help her. Uncover your emotional style and find the hidden patterns you didn't know you had. Why you do the things you do, and how to change it.
This is absolutely a new day.
Next Oprah.
Weekdays at 4, followed by First at 5.
Hi, Karen.
Hi, Barbara. Katie's here for her preschool checkup.
That's great. When does she start?
Next Monday, 5 days a week.
What are you going to do with all that free time?
I've always been interested in what you do here.
Then you should call NIT. They have a flexible schedule, and by the time Katie's ready for kindergarten, you'll already be finished.
Call now and let NIT help you to a new career. For a brochure, call 1-800-752-3335. That's 800-752-3335.
Do you find it impossible to leave your house without makeup? If so, call us at 1-800-MONTEL-2. That's 1-800-MONTEL-2.
I didn't know my dad at all until Thanksgiving of '98. We clicked like best friends. I just finally got my dad, and he was dead. I walked up on a trailer that's all boarded up that says you can't go in. When I walked in my room, my mattress was tore up on my bed. You know, there was holes in the floor, nothing but blood. I just finally got my dad, and then he got took away from me, and I was robbed of that all my life. I got 9 months with him, which was the best 9 months of my life. I hated her because I thought that my dad died over her. If I could have got to her, she would have been laying with him. I called her to say, you know, look, Sonia, I don't know what happened with my dad and what really happened that night. She just told me, you've got a sister. The one thing I don't have is a brother or sister, and I'm going to find out if this is mine or not. I'm not going to live the rest of my life thinking that that's my sister and it not be.
Please welcome to the show now Kenny's daughter, Angie. Welcome to the show. And I should say, the two of you have not seen each other in how long?
A year.
Over a year. Angie, when did you find out what happened to your father?
The morning it happened.
The morning that it happened? And I should say this, you are 20 now.
Yes.
Kenny was how old?
47.
46 years old? 47?
46, almost
46 years old while you were having this relationship. So, being a daughter, did you know that your father was seeing a 19-year-old?
Yeah, they just left my house.
They just left your house. And now all of a sudden, your father's not with us anymore.
Right.
And you do know that the child that Sonia had could be really your half-sister.
And I've took that on, have I not? I called and talked. I brought her a toy today.
What happens if this child is not your half-sister?
I don't care. I still want to be part of her life.
Yeah. And Sonia, what do you think? I mean, you're in kind of the toughest situation, I think, of all. Either the father of your child is dead, or the father of your child is in prison for the rest of his life.
Right.
And he is the person who killed the person that you were most in love with.
Yes.
What do? What do you say to your daughter in 3 years, in 4 years, in 5 years, in 6 years?
I don't know. I want to tell her the truth.
And what would be the truth? You would say what to her?
Either way, she's not going to have a father. You know, so I just want her to know who her father is. I want to know, you know.
I want to know.
You'd like to know also. We just checked with our attorney, and you do know in your state, if Chris asked for it, his parental rights have not been terminated.
Yeah,
so he can demand to see his daughter, if it's his daughter.
Just like I do Tyler.
And what would you do? Are you going to go to court to try to sever his rights, or what? Would you take your daughter to see him in prison?
I don't want to take her to a prison.
But he would have a right to see this child, even in a prison. His weekly visitation could be to see his daughter, if, in fact, it is his daughter. And there's nothing you can do about it unless you go in and petition the court to sever his parental rights. Is that what you intend to do? And then would your daughter, if he wasn't given a death penalty, so he's going to be there for the rest of his natural life, plus 50 years, your daughter would be able to go and see him when she turns 16 and make the decision herself. How will you prep her for that?
I don't know.
Okay, we'll talk about that a little bit before we get done the show today. Please welcome Helen to the show. Thank you so much. I told you we're here today talking to people who have some unanswered questions in their lives, and some very serious ones about their own identity, who they are, what their life has been like. I'm going to ask you, Helen, why are you here today?
Well, I was married 15 years and found out when my second son was born at 3 months, he was sick at 3 months, and when he was in the hospital, they asked me if there was any way my husband and I could be if there was any way that my husband and I could be related. And at that time I said no, not that I know of, because my first son was born with problems.
You could possibly have the same father as your husband.
Right.
And you never knew this your entire
never
life?
Knew this, no.
So, two of you date?
Yes.
You dated for how long? 3, 4, 5 years? How many years did you date? A couple years?
No, we were together 2 months when I got pregnant with Michael.
Ah.
And had Michael, and he was born with...
Okay, now let's talk about this a little bit, just a touch. Your son was born with a birth defect. Did you and your husband question anything then? The thought of you being related never came up?
No.
At all?
No.
Okay, so you're married, and then they go on. Your child that's born has a problem. You're going through all the issues with them, multiple operations, right? All that thing takes place, and then bingo, bango. How many years later do you get pregnant again?
8 years. 8
years later. So you're having this great relationship. Your first son is medical technology is helping him. You get through that, you get pregnant again.
Yes.
Your second baby's born, and what did you detect after your child was born initially?
Well, I thought he was a healthy baby boy, and then after his 6-week checkup, they diagnosed him with aniridia, which is genetic. It means you're missing part of your iris to your eyes.
So he really basically has his pupils.
Yeah, he's more pupil.
More pupil than he has iris.
Right, so he's clinically blind.
And they said that's a genetic disorder.
Right.
Okay, so that was the first thing you heard.
Right.
And then you went back to see the doctors again a little later, and they told you what?
Well, at 18 months, they said it was cerebral palsy, but I didn't believe them. So I did my own research. I found out he has Gills-Pye syndrome, which is, in doing my own research, there's only 11 known cases in the entire world.
And out of those 11 known cases, this manifests itself what way? They have...
Well, he's got aniridia cerebellar, which means the damage is done in the back of the brain. Ataxia, which means he's loose with his muscle control. And there's also mental retardation involved. And in my son's case, he's also failure to thrive. So he's got a G2.
So all those anomalies, the doctors looked at you after this and said what to you?
Well, we went to a genetic counselor, and because of Michael and Joshua's medical things, they felt that there was a 90% chance that my husband could be my brother. And I about lost it.
And at this point in time, you've been married for how long?
Close to 15 years.
15 years. I got to take a break. But as I go to break, just to answer this, so your son's born, the doctor says this to you, you look across the chair at the man that you have been intimate with, you have been in love with, and what hit you?
Well, I'm an incest survivor to begin with, so I was losing it. I mean, there was nights I was making love to my brother, there was nights I was making love to my husband.
Or so you thought. Okay, let me take a little break. We'll be back right after this.
I said, how could you do this? I mean, how can you look at my son that will never walk?
Did you go back and tell everybody you know?
Oh, I confronted. Right after Josh was 3 months old, my second son, I confronted the individual. And they were all in denial.
Now, this is something that's very interesting, because I say, go say hello to your mom. Because we really aren't sure completely whether or not you're mother and daughter. And I want you to turn around for a second, face my audience. Take a look at them. What do you think, guys? Is this a match? Look at them. They look like to be mom and daughter, don't they?
There's no checkbook required at Saturn of Charleston, Huntington. Drive a new 2001 Saturn SL1 with payments as low as $199 a month, or a new L200 midsize Saturn for as low as $249 a month, both with financing as low as 1.9% and zero due at signing. Plus, all of our 2000 models are value priced as well. So drive home today in a car you'll love and leave the checkbook behind, only at Saturn of Charleston, Huntington, I-64 at exit 34 in Hurricane.
Through Monday, get a free 4-night stay just outside of Disney World with 1 year to pay same as cash. Furniture, big screens, TVs, and appliances. Enjoy super sale prices in every department. No matter who wins the game, you can still go to Disney World. Thursday,
on First at 5.
The Dow, earnings, dividends, it all can be confusing and a bit scary. But you don't have to have a lot of money or knowledge to take a trip down Wall Street. We'll look at stock market myths.
And little pests can really bug your children, especially at school. How to keep one step ahead of lice. Thursday on First at 5.
Is it impossible for you to believe that anybody could love you?
Is she lovable?
Yes, she is.
Do you believe that?
No. Fine. Do you worry all the time?
Bad things happen every day, so why wouldn't it happen to me?
Okay, help her. Uncover your emotional style and find the hidden patterns you didn't know you had. Why you do the things you do and how to change it.
This is absolutely a new day.
Next Oprah.
Weekdays at 4, followed by First at 5.
Catch all the Thundering Herd Hoops action at Cam Henderson Center this season. Marshall takes on Toledo Monday, January 29th. For ticket information, call 696-HERD or 1-800-THE-HERD.
He would slide his hands down my pants and say, this is what daddies are supposed to do.
He said, I want you and your brother to perform for me.
If we would say, Daddy, we don't want to, we'd get our ribs kicked in.
He would tie you to the bed.
And then stuff my underwear in my mouth so I couldn't scream.
He would charge other men to have sex with his 9-year-old daughter.
If I die, I die. He's having sex with my sisters. Get them out.
Again, Helen, so you're in a doctor's office and the doctor says to you, there's a 90% chance that with the maladies that we've seen in your children, the only way those maladies can happen is if you and your husband, 90% sure, are brother and sister. You obviously went home to see your husband.
Right, and
What
I
did you say
told
to him?
him, well, he was with me, actually. And
Was he in the office when the doctor said that?
Yes.
What was the look on his face?
He was shocked. I mean, we both were because, you know, like I said, I heard from, you know, a member of his family about the
What
possibility.
took place and how this could have happened. Well, why do these people keep this from you for so long?
I do not know. I would love to know.
When the two of you got married, did not the people who knew the truth about the possibility know that when you were walking down the aisle?
Yes.
And they let you walk down the aisle anyway?
Yes.
Did you said clearly that there are some similarities between your appearance and your husband's appearance. I mean, your husband's sisters, correct?
Yes.
Did your husband want to say, okay, well, maybe, but let's just forget about it? Did the two of you say, let's go take a test to figure out if we are?
I did. He didn't care because I ended up having a hysterectomy. He loved me unconditionally and wanted to hang on.
So he wanted to stay in the relationship?
Yes.
No matter what?
No matter what.
And how long did your relationship last as husband and wife after you found out?
Probably 3 or 4 years because in the back of my mind, I couldn't deal with it.
So but you also didn't want to deal with even addressing the issue. So you went along like husband and wife. All the while, this is eating you up.
Right.
So now you're in a situation where you may have not been molested, but I don't know how to even say it, wrongfully married. I don't know what the term is.
Right. Well, in my eyes, I was wrong. I mean, even though we didn't walk into the marriage knowing it, I couldn't.
Stay there.
Right. I couldn't. So it was either me walking out on my family and my kids or losing my mind.
What did the rest of your family have to say about this? Did you go back and tell everybody you know what?
I confronted. Right after Josh was 3 months old, my second son, I confronted the individual. And they were all in denial.
And
it
then
wasn't until later I confronted it. 7 or 8 years later, I confronted the issue again because of something else, and everybody came out and told the truth.
And when they all came out and told the truth, what did you say to this one individual? What did you say to this family member?
I said, how could you do this? I mean, how can you look at my son that will never walk? And well, he's 13 and he hasn't walked yet. He can't talk. I would never trade my son for the world. Joshua was the happiest little boy in the world. He's mainstreamed in a regular classroom. He loves me unconditionally. I never knew what love was until I had my children. And I go, he's never going to be normal because of what you did. And I mean, it's just, you know, I don't think they had a care in the world.
But what happens if, truthfully, doctors didn't get it right?
If doctors didn't get it right, then I go on. I can say, okay, my children were born.
And this is just what happened.
This is just what happened.
Okay, all right, I'm going to take a little break. When we come back, you think this is enough? Again, I said we have people here today who want some answers to some questions. We have another young lady who's here today whose name is Melanie. And she feels like, after a search looking for her birth mother, she found her biological mother. They corresponded, they've talked to each other. Yes, the facts all point to the same place. Yes, yes, yes. Gotta be my mom. But there's a little catch. I'll tell you about it when we come back. We'll take a break. We'll be back right after this. I hate giving out information like this. But I have to tell you that without a doubt, to an accuracy of about 99%, there is absolutely no question. Then I got to tell you, and this is like accuracy as accurate as it could be.
You know, Capri Sun's all natural, which means I can pronounce everything in it. And ever since they made it easy open, the kids inhale it.
Easy open Capri Sun.
See it? Do it.
Salon Selectives introduces new, loosely defined styling cream. Give your hair a little texture and definition with Salon Selectives.
Sis, I snooped in your medicine cabinet.
So?
You switched to X-Lax.
Yeah, Correctol works with an artificial chemical. X-Lax works with natural senna.
Very effectively, too.
You tried it.
What a find.
What a snoop.
Good morning, guaranteed.
We do a large volume of new car and truck business. This gives us a huge inventory of used cars for you to choose from. We have one of the largest pre-owned and program centers in the tri-state. All of our pre-owned and program cars come with a limited warranty. If we don't have what you're looking for, let us know. Chances are we can get it for you. Buying a new car or truck is a big event. Should not be a big hassle. And I promise you, it won't be at Ford County Ford. We're just real people trying to make a real difference. We treat you the way we like to be treated.
I wanted to work with expectant mothers, but 7 years of school was too much. Now, I've got the career I've always dreamed of.
If you're considering a career as a medical assistant, the Department of Labor says that in the next 10 years, the fastest growing careers will be in healthcare.
Being part of a healthcare team seemed impossible. My parents thought I was dreaming. Now I'm on my own, making a good living, doing something I really love.
Call NIT at 1-800-752-3335. That's 1-800-752-3335. Call now.
We're talking today to guests who say, I need some answers to some questions. These have been unanswered questions most of my life, and I want an answer today. Please welcome Melanie to the show. Melanie, I kind of gave a little synopsis of what's going on in your life before I went to break, but why don't you tell everybody? You were adopted.
Right.
Correct?
Yes.
Grew up adopted, knew you were adopted.
Always knew. But I always had this search. I wanted to find out who my real mother and father were, just for the main fact. I wanted to say thank you, because 39 years ago, it would have been so simple to probably have an abortion or, you know, something.
Sure.
And so, to me, it was like, you know, the ultimate sacrifice. And I wanted to be able to find my mother and thank her and say, look, you know, I turned out really well. I'm okay. I have a great family. And so I watched all the reunion shows and, you know, did all that. And I applied to a reunion company.
You did?
I replied to them, but it's been like, you know, 10 years ago I did.
You applied 10 years ago.
Right.
They had all your information.
Had everything I had. And I didn't have a whole lot of information, but I gave them everything I had. Like, you know, birth date, the hospital, even though the hospital I was born at no longer exists. And, you know, for a few years I thought about it, and after that nothing really happened.
Okay.
Then this summer I received a letter from the reunion company.
And this letter that you received said?
I have a potential match.
What did you know about this woman who was your mother?
I was told that they were students at a university in Florida, and they were both young, that she was taken and put into a home for unwed mothers, that there were probably maybe a history of allergies, maybe asthma, just real, you know,
a lot of non-identifying information, but birth weight, I had all this information.
And they came back to you and said what?
We have a match. We think we have found her for you.
And what did you do? Did you contact her by letter first?
Immediately, I called the reunion company, and they gave me who was supposed to be my half-sister. They gave me her email address, and I gave mine, and we corresponded. Then immediately said, okay, tell her she can call. So I think
who
Angie.
Is this she that called?
Angie, who's my half-sister, hopefully is my half-sister, we think.
So you talked to the lady who you think might be your mom that day?
Yes,
and that
I've
was
spoken
Edie.
to her. Edie, yes.
Edie, well, let's move on. I want to hear her side of the story. Please welcome Edie to the show. This way, Edie. Come on. How are you? Thank you very much for being here. So, wait, did you put your name into a search organization also, the same one?
My daughter did it for me on the internet.
Now, you gave up a child for adoption.
Yes, 39 years and 1 month ago.
39 years and 1 month ago. So when the two of you started talking, you talked, obviously, to Melanie, and things started jiving, correct?
Right, after we got over our not knowing what to say.
And that was going on. So how many times have the two of you met with each other, seen each other?
Never. This is the first time we've seen each other.
Seen each other, actually physically seen each other?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, geez, why don't you go say hi to your mom then? Say, I don't know.